Hey guys, how's it going? DL Jennings here, and I am back from the 2018 Nebula Awards. So I wanted to do a little video wrap up, basically explaining what the nebulas are, kind of highlighting some of the activities that they had there, some of my favorite books, and some up and coming authors to pay attention to. So this was my first time ever attending the Nebula Awards, which is I like to explain it to people as basically the Oscars for science fiction and fantasy writers. So they have all kinds of categories. You can be nominated or selected for a novel, a short story, even like a dramatic presentation. So this year's winner for that, like for example, was Get Out, the movie by Jordan Peele. I know Star Wars was also up for it. So shockingly enough, Get Out actually ended up taking that. So this year's winner for the best novel was The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin. I wasn't really aware of the series. It's actually the third book in a series, and this is also the third year in a row that N.K. Jemisin has come away with the top prize, as it were. So that's never been done before, which is pretty, I mean, it's incredible. You know, for a feat like that to be accomplished by a writer is obviously incredible. So I actually just today placed an order for the first book in that series, and it should be getting here soon. So keep an eye out for my review on that. Like I said, this was my first year going. I ended up getting a really awesome, name tag and everything, so I could look super official. So people weren't convinced that I was crashing the party because I did show up to a reception wearing jeans and a t-shirt, so way to go, amateur. But, like they say, this was a learning experience. I'll be ready next year with probably a cane and a top hat. And I'm not making this up, Patrick Rothfuss, the author of The Name of the Wind, actually showed up wearing a top hat. I wish I'd gotten a picture of it because that man knows how to dress. So one of the ways this was really useful to me was actually meeting some other authors that were there. So I met a handful of them who were, kind of in the same place as me career-wise, just starting out, not really knowing what the industry is about, not knowing how to navigate our way around it. So this was definitely a chance for some growth for me. So I ended up meeting a wonderful young author. Her name is Pung Shepard, and actually she's got a book coming out in June. It's called The Book of M. That sounds really fantastic. I got a link for it down below in the description if you want to check it out. It is available for pre-order now, and frankly, it sounds like it's really an amazing book. So the premise is that all around the globe, people's shadows start disappearing, and they gain this strange new power with it, but at the cost of their memories. So to me, it sounds like a really exciting debut from a new author. I strongly encourage you guys to check it out. I think it's going to do well. So one other benefit of attending the conference this year was coming away with some new literature. So let me show you the sheer bulk of of what I came away with. So this is one stack. This is the stack of books that you get after just setting foot in the door. So obviously, some of these were placed there by the authors who, kind of wanted to get their books out there. Mine included. I definitely managed to sneak mine in the stack, and I was pretty happy to see at the end of the week the copies that I put in were gone. So, but that wasn't the only stack that I got. I got these as well. But so these I actually specifically put aside to kind of talk about because I wanted to really highlight these and tell you guys to keep an eye on them. So the first one is a book called Time Was by Ian MacDonald. So if you've ever heard of this guy, which you're probably familiar with him, just looking at his Wikipedia entry, this guy's got he's got basically every conceivable award that you can get for science fiction or fantasy. I mean, this guy's got more awards than Daniel Day-Lewis, so it's definitely impressive. And in case you can't really tell, so this is a pretty thin book, clocking in at just over 142 pages. So I'm actually looking to do a quick review on this after I finish it, but keep an eye out for that. Another one, so this one I picked up. It's called Fluency, and it's book 1 by Jennifer Foner Wells. So she had book 2 there, but I wanted to pick up book 1 just because it was so intriguing. So I flipped through it and kind of got a gist of, what it was about. One of the first things that struck me, it really reminded me of Leviathan Wakes. So it's the series that Amazon or that Sci-Fi adapted into the series called The Expanse, based on the book by James S.A. Corey. So I loved Leviathan Wakes. It was a great space opera, and this from just flipping through it at the beginning, it seemed like a really cool book and sort of the same premise. So again, it's called Fluency by Jennifer Foner Wells. Another one I picked up was called Incense Rising by N.J. Schrock. So I actually got about 289 pages into it on the flight back. So definitely an interesting book. So it's science fiction, and it really centers around 2 women, Neve and Incense Rising, who obviously is the titular character. So the gist of the plot is Incense is in possession of this scientific theory that could provide a better method of energy production, and it kind of follows her. So one thing that really intrigued me about this was Schrock's method of writing. So for Incense, her chapters are written in the first person perspective, and actually from the present progressive, which I thought was, you never see that. Most books, if it's in first person, are probably going to be in the past, like she went down to the stream and crossed her arms, but the way that Schrock writes it is, just to pull up a random chapter here, the weather has turned misty, which will help me obscure images from surveillance cameras. A lucky break for me. Other security officers are all along the exits of the train, so I suspect they are closing in on me. So, I thought it was an interesting technique because most of the other chapters are written in third-person perspective. So if you guys are familiar with The Name of the Wind, the Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss, he employs a similar narrative technique, going from, most of the book is told in first-person perspective from Kvothe, who is basically retelling these stories to a man named the Chronicler. The scene setting is written in third person. So definitely an interesting narrative technique. Again, that one's called Incense Rising by N.J. Schrock. And then another one that I picked up was purely based on the cover art and the title, and I'm a huge sucker for stuff like that. That was one of the best ways that I ever found bands, was just picking up the album art, looking at the name of the band, and if it was something like Pierce the Veil or Poison the Well, I'm a sucker for stuff like that. So I do judge books based on their cover. But anyways, if you guys are, if any of you out there are thinking of pursuing a career in writing, I would highly recommend trying to attend the next Nebula event, which will be held at some time and date to be determined in the future, probably sometime around May next year, I'd imagine. They haven't announced a city for it yet, but I'm definitely keeping my eyes open for that. And if I am not deployed when that time rolls around, I hope to be in attendance. So besides picking up new books and just figuring out, watching the nominations and the awards ceremonies, another thing that the Nebulas did, which was really awesome, was they had basically workshops for writers, and it was a lot of, here's a 1-hour seminar on how to employ social media. Here's a 30-minute seminar on, what to do if you get a reading and how to go about it. So stuff like that, which was really useful to me, obviously as a young writer. I say young in the career. Who's, I've got no idea what I'm doing so far and figuring it a lot on my own. So this was a really big step forward for me for getting to meet new people, finding out new authors, and just kind of figuring out what to do. So if you guys get a chance, like I said, check out the Nebulas, and you can look up this year's award winners. Again, I posted a link down in the description. So thanks for stopping in. Let me know if you got any questions. I am Dave at dl-jennings.com. Feel free to leave me a comment here in the comments section. Otherwise, swing by my website. Otherwise, swing by my website, dl-jennings.com, and you can check out some of my blogs that I put up there. If you're interested in learning how to submit a novel, or what to do once you finished it, or even just some techniques on how to be a better writer, I got some of those blogs up there, so you can check that out. And I got links in the description, so go ahead and take a peek. But thanks for stopping by.